Hey everyone, I'm sending you this video because unfortunately I'm homesick with COVID, and even when I start to feel better, I'm going to have to quarantine to make sure I'm not giving anybody else the virus. So I just wanted to give you an introduction to the crime scene and give you some of the really important aspects you're going to need to know for tomorrow, for Tuesday, for your classes. I also just wanted you to know that on Tuesday for the crime scene, Miss Wopazeski and Miss Waduda are going to be covering for me to make sure that you guys can go out and enjoy and investigate the crime scene properly. So make sure you just please go in and say thank you to them. They're going out of their way. I'm sick, but I'm still filming this for you. We all care a lot about you guys, and we all want you guys to have the best time with this project. So we're all kind of going out of our way to make sure, despite some of these obstacles, that you're able to do it and enjoy. So please go in and please just thank them for taking the time, and please just show them the utmost respect and listen when they're giving you the directions, because you're going to need that information to be able to do a good project. And remember, this project is worth 200 test points, so it's kind of a biggie. So make sure that you're able to follow along, watch this again if you need to get all the information you need. So first thing, let me just tell you your groups, and feel free to pause the video to see these. I'm also going to post these in Classroom as an image so you can check again. But these are the groups. Make special note if your group has 4 people versus 3 people, because those are kind of different scenarios we'll look at. And then if you're period 7, please take a look at that. And again, if you're a 4 group versus a 3 group, that's going to make a difference. So please make sure you're kind of aware of that. Okay, but about our crime scene itself that we're going to be investigating on Tuesday, so tomorrow. Firstly, the crime scene is in Estes Park in Colorado. It's a camp scene. And I'm going to post these so that you can read about this in detail again. But one adult female body was found dead upon the first responders' arrival, and several witnesses have been collected from the nearby camp area. There's also a 911 transcript that you'll be able to look at that's linked here. And this was on May 17th, 2022. Ranger Lazovic gives his statement right here. So he says, I've arrived at the empty campsite very early in the morning at approximately 5:40 a.m. after being notified by police of a dead body. Immediately, I noticed that there appeared to be an intense struggle. Items were thrown about, and there was no sign of anyone in the area. I canvassed the site and the surrounding perimeter for people. I then approached the tent and noticed that there were sleeping bags. As I continued to walk, a body was found by a tree near the tent. The deceased seems to be a female in her 20s or 30s. I continued to look around the campsite without touching anything. From the objects that appeared, I inferred anywhere from 2 to 6 people were staying at that site. Of note, there was blood smeared on the tent and other areas of the campsite. There were no weapons in plain sight, but visibility was very low because the sun had not risen yet. The police arrived within the hour. As I waited, there was still no sign of any campers. So that's Dr. Lazovic's statement, Ranger Lazovic. Here's just what our beautiful scene looks like when there's not murder going on. Okay, so some of the most important things. First of all, 4 suspects. There are 4 suspects, which we'll go into a little bit. It's your job to go and interview those 4 suspects. If you're a group of 4, that means one of you will try to interview 1 suspect each. If you're a group of 3, then one of you is going to have to interview 2 suspects. Suspects will have evidence on their person from the scene, so you need to ask them with your warrant about that evidence, which, by the way, the warrant, you're going to be given a warrant that serves as your hall pass so that you can travel around the school and investigate and talk to these people. So you need to make sure that you get that warrant signed, that you fill it out properly, and that you're ready to go. And you're also going to be interviewing the witnesses. And there's also, this is the list of general people that you're going to be talking to. Now, another really important piece is because I won't be there for the first couple days, you need to really plan accordingly as to which member of your group is going to be interviewing who. I'm going to give you the schedule of which suspects and witnesses or any of these people are available during which times, but you need to come in ready with that list so that you can say to Ms. Waduda, Ms. Wopazeski after, hey, can you sign my warrant for this? Because they're effectively signing your hall pass to be able to go and do that. So it's a little bit tricky, so many people out. I don't know that I can guarantee you can continue the project on other days that I won't be there unless you have those hall passes, aka those warrants. I have a feeling they'll probably put you in the Performing Arts Center a couple days because so many people are out. So you'll really need that pass to be able to go around and interview these people and get the evidence, get the required materials. But yeah, the suspects are going to have evidence. These other people will also have items to give you. Typically, the eyewitnesses will not have items, but you also want to just make sure you, of course, write down their testimony to try to put together what exactly happened, right? We're trying to solve the crime. The press members, so there's Anita Story and Miss Ross you're going to want to go around and talk to. So the local newspaper reporters. There's the pathologist you're going to want to reach out to. She may have an autopsy report that you will find important. So Dr. A.B.O. Blood will have that. The forensic scientist, Dr. Lou Manol, might have some information for you. Detective Werner, one of the first law enforcement officer on the scene, could have some information. And then these are our 6 witnesses. So Julia Butterfly, Bo Peep, Durango, Robin Banks, Chaos, and Lauren Order. So you're going to want to go and talk to these people. Suspects. So of our 4 suspects, one of them is Mandy Lynn. Another is Marsha Malo. And then we have May Be Lost and Keith Miller are our suspects. So these are the people that will have evidence on their person. This availability schedule is linked in this presentation that I'm going to be sharing with you. That's where it's so important that you get together with your group, maybe when you watch this video, and say who is going to interview who, essentially. I look at the availability, see what matches up with my schedule in terms of when I have study halls, or when I can go during class, or go during lunch or something. Make a plan with your group on who's going to do what, so that on Tuesday you can have those warrants filled out and signed before you go, and then you can be all ready to go. You won't skip a beat then. You'll have your hall pass ready to go and interview these people. These are the only days we can actually go and interview people, the ones listed here, so we really need to plan accordingly. You have to have a signed search warrant. The suspects and witnesses will not answer any of your questions or requests without a warrant, right? You need to have that, and it is your hall pass. This is a huge one. If you act inappropriately, so if you disrupt classes or not working on the project, or you're in a location you shouldn't be, you'll receive a 0 for those portions of the project, right? So you need to make sure you're on doing what you need to be. Every day you'll have some action items. Every day you're going to fill out a form that has your action items of what you plan to do on that day and what you plan to do the next day, and you need to somehow show that you did those things. If you're on your cell phone or if you're doing something other than that, you'll lose participation points for that day. In total, there's 50 participation points for the whole project, so that's a big chunk out of the 200 points, right? That's a whole 25% of your whole grade. So make it look like at least you're working hard and getting done what you need to get done, because there's a lot to be done. Okay, this is what the roles will look like. So first of all, most people are in a 3-person group. So in a 3-person group, there will simply be an evidence collector, a sketcher, and a photographer. Remember, when you go out to the scene, we did this a long time ago. The evidence collector and the photographer travel together, filling out the evidence log and the photographer's log, right? You remember a key difference between the 2 logs was that the photographer had 2 entries per evidence item, a close-up picture and a medium distance picture. The evidence log person only had 1 entry for each evidence item. So for example, if there were 15 pieces of evidence, the evidence person has 15 entries. The photographer has at least 30 entries plus a panoramic photo. Remember that stuff? We need to get that stuff in to get full credit for this. And you only have 1 day to go out to the scene to do this. So make sure that you're on your A game, that you're doing what you need to be doing once you've decided amongst your group which role is which. Sketchers. We'll get together with sketchers from other groups and we'll measure the parameters of the scene, right? So at least the length and the width of the entire scene. But also don't forget, for at least a couple of pieces of items, we need to have measurements from 2 fixed points, right? So probably from one wall and then another wall. That way, if we ever needed to, we could recreate this crime scene if we ever had to go back and reinvestigate it. Okay, so that's for a group of 3. If you're a group of 4, then there will be 2 sketchers who will work together to make the drafts. And I believe we said that one of them will do the rough sketch and the other will do the final smooth sketch. But I'll get back to you on that one, but I would just plan for that essentially. Other important things. So in a group of 3, which most people are, first of all, in general, every person is required to interview 4 different people from the school. So those 4 different people that you have the bare minimum hit are going to be 3 witnesses and 1 suspect. Or if you're in a group, so if you're in a group of 3, some people will have 3 witnesses and 1 suspect. One of the people will have to do 2 suspects and 2 witnesses. But you need to get at least 4 people, and you need to hit all 4 suspects because the suspects have the evidence. If you don't have the evidence, then you're kind of in trouble, right? So the most important thing is interviewing the suspects because they will give you physical evidence. That's what you're gonna be your biggest part of your investigation. And just in general, again, it's 4 people that each group member is interviewing. 3 suspects, 1 suspect, 3 witnesses per person usually. And if you're 4 to a group, then everybody just does 3 witnesses, 1 suspect. So that's kind of the combinations in general. Everyone's shooting for 4 people and getting at least 1 suspect in on their interviews. Okay, everyone is also analyzing 2 sets of physical evidence. So let's say, for example, that every suspect provides a blood sample. Even though your group members all obtain that evidence from different suspects, there will be 1 person in charge of blood analysis, right? So that's what makes the most sense. 1 person in charge of blood analysis, and then maybe that same person will be the DNA analysis person. So they're going to analyze the DNA of all 4 suspects. So each person needs to have 2 physical evidence analysis groups. So 1 person maybe does DNA blood, maybe somebody else does footprints and hair, something like that. And it's detailed analysis, so that this project is going to take, we have several days to do it, it's going to take several days. One of the final things is that this whole project is, the vast majority of it is an individual grade, right? So what you do matters for your individual grade. There's a small portion, about 10%, a little more, that's the group conclusion that everyone needs to contribute to once you get together, talk about what your analysis came up with. But other than that, it's really on you to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing, whether you're participating properly through and through each day, not being on the phone, etc., and whether you're getting what you need to get done. Okay. I am available via email, and yeah, I'm available. So we're all trying to do our best here to make sure that you can get this project done and enjoy it. And let me know if you have any questions or anything. And hopefully I will be back by Friday when they let me back again. Okay. Well, good luck, investigators. And hopefully we figure out who did this crime.